In a world where the marks think they know better than the wrestlers and the bookers, the Fantasy Booking Institute exists to pretty much do exactly that. This is a visit from the FBI. Welcome to another episode of A Visit from the FBI, your weekly dose of fantasy booking. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I'm joined as always by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent K Fabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
Not a cop. That's how I am. You are, but I'm not. I'm DA.
Yeah, that's our new merch up on the store. So go to shop.spreadshirt.com/Raw and Order WBU. We have Not a Cop shirts. They're awesome.
That one is epic. That is you, good sir, have a mind for funny things to put on shirts.
I do my best. I'd like to remind everyone, Raw and Order is part of the TattnessCo Podcast Network, so make sure to check out the other shows on the network, like the Tattness Podcast Uncensored, Chick and Hen with S&M, In the Dicebox Slam, Basement Bullshit, and the newest edition, Carpool Shenanigans. Go over to TattnessCo.com and check them out, and then come back here and listen to our show, because we like having you here. If you are one of the people who is new to this particular show, the premise of the Fantasy Booking Institute is simple. We take turns challenging each other to book some unknown and often very unlikely scenario in the world of pro wrestling. We do not discuss them in advance, so the answers are entirely off the cuff and hopefully funny. Before we get into it, I'd like to remind everyone, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on whatever podcast platform you use. Click that like button to make sure you get notified whenever we post a new episode, which is almost daily with our wrestling reviews of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW. It's basically almost every day of the week you get a new podcast there, so make sure to check that out.
And like you said at the beginning, now we're a pissant t-shirt company.
Yes.
So that's
well, I mean, in fairness, we've outsourced the t-shirt actual manufacturing. We're just a pissant t-shirt design company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about as legit as it comes.
So I never remember who went first last week. So who do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. I'm 97% sure I went first last week, because I continue to weekly complain about the fact that I don't get to go first ever in the other segment, which also does give me the ability to decide how much of a district attorney I am.
Well, well, then I look forward to you being a huge district attorney to me. So my challenge to you, I don't know if you've noticed the rumor going around, but there is rampant rumor and speculation that WWE is being shopped for sale to ESPN, Fox, or maybe another party. Not just the WWE Network, which was the original rumor, but WWE as a whole would be sold to ESPN. Or so if that happens,
does Shane and Stephanie not want it, or I mean,
well,
be more Stephanie and Trips, but
considering Shane has stock, but he has no actual business relationship in it.
He's a talent.
He's a talent, yep. And Stephanie owns some stock, but controlling interest stock is almost exclusively owned by Vince McMahon. So he can do whatever the hell he wants, basically.
Boy, I would much rather see that in the hand, but I guess ESPN is Disney. Yeah, okay, so I'm still going to say this. I'd much rather see that in the hands of Fox.
So here's my challenge for you. Okay. With that rumor, Trips might not be the chosen one after all. So I need you to book Triple H in AEW.
Triple H in AEW. So you remember a couple weeks ago when I had you book a week ago, I had you book a hostile takeover of any brand from another brand. I don't know how you cannot have that be a hostile takeover if you're forcing him to AEW. I personally think Trips goes and buys a different pissat ant t-shirt company with his money and starts developing his own. Because maybe he just takes ownership of NXT, like he buys that brand. I'll say in advance. That said, I would assume, yeah, if you're going to do Trips in that way, you have to do them as a business hostile takeover, kind of how they did Survivor Series last year, with him guiding others in their dismantling of another organization. Yeah, I think that's the only way you can do that. I think you have Keith Lee attack Cody Rhodes and the people that follow Trips. So it's going to be NXT for the most part. Seth Rollins, maybe even go after Cody or Jericho or Dean Ambrose. I'm sorry, John Moxley. That move, I think, is the only way you can book a storyline there, and it sounds so very, very WWE that I don't think. I'll be honest, it would never happen. It just wouldn't. But that's the only way you can book that in.
The tough thing that comes with that is simply, if the sale goes to ESPN or Fox or whoever, right, and Trips goes someplace else, most of those other people are going to be under contract to ESPN or Fox.
True.
So how do you do that with all of his talent being under contract?
Yeah, it's probably a Cody challenge to Trips at that point. If you can't bring any talent with you, then I think it becomes a Cody challenge to Trips and says, you know what, I destroyed the throne once, now I'm going to destroy the king along with it. Truth be told, I don't think that this rumor is true. I think that Vince may be willing to sell out of his shares, but somebody's going to have to come into a leadership role in that organization, and it's probably needed it for 5-6 years. But I would say if AEW put Trips under a talent contract, that's what it would be. It would be for Cody to finally exercise his demons, so to say, against the king and show him somebody might have been the king of kings before, but now I'm the king. With a Cody win, obviously.
Okay.
So that's I can't really go super in depth here because I just can't see it. It's so impossibly hard to see that concept. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's a difficult one to see.
Well, in fairness, while, like I say, it's still just rumors. The rumors come from people who typically have pretty good track records in these things, but still just rumors. However, you and I both lived through the merger with AOL Time Warner of WCW, and we've seen how badly putting a corporation in charge, a corporation that has no wrestling ties, in charge of a wrestling company can kind of backfire for you.
Well, and we've seen it a little bit with SmackDown. NBC's done a really good job of letting Vince be Vince, and as Fox has taken some additional control with SmackDown and everything, they've almost acted confused. Wait, that's the big star. No, that's the big star. No, we want that guy. He's the big star. And it doesn't work. You can't just target the big star at the time because it's a long-term build. It's a long-term story. Fox is notorious for not seeing the long term. They did it with Family Guy, canceling them twice, and this is a long term where you have to tell the story and keep them around long term if you're going to buy the whole company. there would be no benefit in them dissolving the company whatsoever. I could see, I think it's more realistic to see Disney pick up WWE Network than it is to see Fox pick up or anybody pick up all of WWE. It will be bad. It will be bad if wrestlers aren't in charge of wrestling. It will be bad.
And that's the deal. I think you're correct. The more likely scenario is one of those companies buys the network. I think it's short-sighted of Vince McMahon to sell off the network. That in the long run, the network is really the future of professional wrestling as a company. That there will be a time, not in the time right now with the Fox deal, but there will be a time in the future where WWE will think to themselves, why do we even have to be on everyone's got internet?
Yeah.
And I think they're just thinking right now in the old business model, Fox, and don't get me wrong, it is still currently the best way to get your show into houses is still cable, but it's becoming less and less the best way every year.
Absolutely.
I mean, I specifically had to go out of my way to sign up for Sling Teachers so I could get USA Network and TNT. All right.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for those, I wouldn't have any sort of cable right now. I would do everything exclusively streaming. If I could get Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite on just the app streaming on the internet, whether it's WWE Network's app or TNT has an app and doesn't require you to have a cable subscription, I would not sign up for cable. And I think I'm not the only.
The NXT agreement with USA right now works better for that. I mean, you have to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks for Raw or SmackDown to show up on the network, and NXT shows up in 24 hours. If I think the value to the network, I think the network is the value for any of those organizations. And yes, the talent is the value and the future writing and everything like that. But you really, as an organization, if you're going to pick up something you don't know a whole lot about, you have to trust the people who know a whole lot about it. It doesn't work. It wouldn't work for me to be put in charge of a biotech company as I'm a district attorney, like that doesn't do anything for anybody. I'm not actually a district attorney, but the application is very, very relevant. It doesn't work for a cop to run a multi-million-dollar cell phone company because he has his exposure to cell phones is a cell phone, Yeah, that's right. I went there. Just so you know.
I could do it.
Maybe. I mean, you're a cop, but you're actually a detective now, so you know how to go up through the ranks at least.
Anyways, no, that's the deal. Is I think and more specifically, I think say it goes through, WWE sells off the network to ESPN or Fox or whoever. Doesn't even matter. Access TV, doesn't matter who they sell it off to. I just see in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, maybe as long as 5 years down the road, them regretting that decision because suddenly they'll start thinking, hey, we want to move away from this TV and move more and more to streaming, but now we don't have all of that backbone that we had to go into a network. It's gone. Now we've got to just kind of start from scratch, but I'm not the multi-billionaire owner of WWE, making these decisions. I'm a pissant t-shirt designer.
/ detective. Yes.
Not a cop.
Not a cop. You were, though. So once a cop, always a cop. You're a cop.
Nope, I'm undercover. My shirt says not a cop.
Oh, that's fantastic. Seriously, go buy a shirt, folks. Especially the not a cop one. That's hilarious.
But that's the deal. I mean, like, in regards to trips going to AEW, like I said in the intro, that's not going to happen. If WWE gets sold to Fox or ESPN and Triple H is out as an executive, he is not going to go back into a wrestling anywhere.
I think he's old enough
past
to
that. He'll probably take whatever buyout is offered to him, and him and Steph will go off and probably do some other startup.
Yeah, I mean, unless he can buy out NXT, I don't see him doing anything with another organization. I see him either starting his own, or being done with it. I mean, he may just be done. He's, what is he, 67 now? 68?
Not sure.
Sorry.
That's question prepared for.
No, he's like 50. He's like 50. But anyway, no, I understand that. I really like that. That was probably one of the more difficult ones you've given me, because there's just almost no level of realism to that. I mean, it's worse than the werewolf one I gave you, the bad supernatural concept. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
But I chose Dexter Lumis to be the werewolf, and you're now a huge Dexter Lumis fan.
I am a gigantic Dexter Lumis fan. God, I love that guy. All right.
He's good. Okay. I'm going to break in here really quickly to talk about our sponsor. I know you've heard me mention Anchor.fm before. It's by far the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain really quickly. It's free. You don't have to have any experience in advance to do it. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They're going to distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many other more, Google Podcasts, pretty much any place you can look for a podcast. And you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So what are you waiting for? Go download the free Anchor app on the App Store or go to anchor.fm to get started. So what you got for me?
Okay. So, because there's now a title that can be defended anywhere, everywhere, all the time, it's been around for probably about almost a year now, I would assume. Maybe even longer than that. With the 24/7 title. Yay. Anyway, I am going to challenge you to a Money in the Bank ladder match to get for a title shot at the 24/7 championship. You have to book that. I know, it's the dumbest thing I've ever said, and that's why I'm so excited to hear you try to book this.
So, book a ladder match for the 24/7 match.
Money in the Bank ladder match for the 24/7 title.
Yeah, you're correct. That is a stupid challenge.
Well, because theoretically, I mean, you can challenge for it anytime you want, but WWE is so good at making just the most ridiculous storylines where somebody would be like, I never get a shot at the 24/7 championship. Gosh, or better still, that now that Money in the Bank contract is the thing that is defended 24/7 instead of the title.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I mean, the more realistic thing to have me book is have me book someone to somehow or another beat Rob Gronkowski to get the 24/7 championship, because it literally has not been seen since WrestleMania Part 2, which was a month ago.
Yeah, rough, right?
And Rob Gronkowski is now back in the NFL.
A professional football player who has to lose the title. I'm betting the 24/7 title may have just disappeared.
It wouldn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest. The 24/7 title behind the scenes was apparently a USA Network pitch idea. They wanted to try to give something exciting to boost the ratings, and it didn't. It short term did cause a little bit of a boost, so I guess credit there, but long term it really didn't.
Well, it becomes such a, I memean, as the hardcore title initially, that did really great, and then even when it was put up for grabs all the time, I sincerely believe that it's booked wrong, because I think you have to have, even if it's a 15-second rule, I'm challenging, okay, now there's 15 seconds to prep or so many seconds to prep. I also think that you need the title changes online all the time. So if you want, I'll change it.
No, it's fine. it's fine. I want to do the thing. I just was pointing out that, you know, we've got a champion who hasn't been seen and hasn't done anything. You know, like when Mojo Rawley was champion, there were vignettes of him out there with his goon behind him saying, "Nope, not gonna let you do it." But they don't have that, right?
Correct.
Right now, it's just been absolutely nothing. No sign of it, no anything. And so, I mean, the other thing, part of what made the Hardcore Championship 24/7 belt work was that hardcore stipulation. No one ever won that with just a roll-up, period.
No.
They
and this
put someone through a table and then won it. Hit them with a car or something, you know? And that's where the booking for this probably fell apart the most, in my opinion, is that they really should have, if they're going to book this as 24/7, every title change except for a few gimmick titles. Like if you want to have Kyle Busch or the Fox Sportscaster Rob Stone or whoever win it, do those with just simple roll-ups or something gimmicky like that.
Well, and I think the gimmick for that had already been set up so think back to Santino Marella's Intercontinental title win. It was a no holds barred match or no DQ match, which I really don't know what the difference in those two is, but okay. And then Bobby Lashley comes out, spears Umaga, and Santino wins the title. That's how you do Kyle Busch winning the 24/7 championship. Somebody who's just infuriated that he can't get the title beats down on him and then goes, well, fine, Kyle Busch will have it, type thing.
Well, that's the deal. But I'm fine with in those situations it being a roll up. But if R-Truth has the title, Mojo Rawley shouldn't just surprise him with a roll up.
Sure.
R-Truth should be backstage walking along. Mojo Rawley comes along and power bombs him or something. You know what I mean? A legitimate something, and to pin him for the title. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Because
also, I want you to book the cash-in of said Money in the Bank for the 24/7 title, because you do bring up an interesting point with Gronk now being in the NFL. How does that cash-in happen?
Yeah, well, and that's the deal.
That's
the
where
NFL
it gets fun.
The NFL actually issued a statement saying that there will not be cash-ins on the sidelines or at the game, right? Because they want to make sure that he's not going to be sitting on the sidelines before the game or celebrating a touchdown and R-Truth comes out and rolls him up.
God, that'd be fantastic, though.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
The NFL, but it'd be fantastic for WWE.
If you're wanting to win viewers coming to watch wrestling, making a mockery of their favorite legitimate sport, not probably the best way to do it. So
probably not.
So I think geez, Money in the Bank ladder match for a chance to challenge for the 24/7 title.
It sounds so dumb because it is.
It is, because you have to make some sort of rule where once the briefcase is won, no one can challenge for the belt until he cashes that in.
Okay, go ahead.
To make it something where it's worth it to have that, because True. Like you say, right now you can challenge for it whenever you damn well want just by running up. And so by making it this way where you are exclusively the next challenger, no one else can challenge until you challenge, at least gives there some stakes to winning this that I think. As for who you would have in the match, that is a tougher question, because half of the people I would put in that recently got fired by the WWE. So now I've got to
go. Velasquez in AEW.
He got fired from WWE, but last I heard he hadn't officially went.
He'll land in AEW.
Most likely. Well, or go back to AAA where he came from.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, That's the big firing of the week, I think, right now. Well, other than Briscoe.
Yeah. No, I think in reality, Jerry Briscoe is the big firing of the week, because that guy goes all the way back to Vince,
Oh, yeah.
He was Vince's right hand. And in fact, when Vince Jr. took over from Vince Sr., part of the deal was that he kept on his right-hand men, Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe. So it only took like 35 years for Vince McMahon to kick him to the curb. But okay, so
sorry, we get distracted.
Yes. So in the Money in the Bank, the 24/7 title,
Money in the Bank
ladder match, we would have to have R-Truth in it, because involved with everything. Riddick Moss and, unfortunately, freaking Mojo Rawley. Both of who else we put in? God, it's so tough, because like I look through and there's like, oh, this guy could be in it, but putting someone in the 24/7 title is kind of a doubt. Like, I was like, oh, you could put Jinder Mahal in it, he's back, but Jinder Mahal's a former WWE champion, like it or not. So
I'm enjoying this way too much, because this is just like the worst challenge of all time.
So 3 more. Well, you know what, I got an idea. Okay, so we got those 3: Mojo Rawley, what's his face, Riddick Moss, and R-Truth, and then the Forgotten Sons, all 3 of them.
Okay.
Because then you can tell a storyline of the Forgotten Sons all teaming up on everyone else. So effectively then, Gronkowski, Riddick Moss, and R-Truth have to kind of join forces just to stand a chance.
Not Gronkowski, Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, excuse me, Mojo. They're all the same. Riddick Moss, Rob Gronkowski, Mojo Rawley, they're all the same. Control C, Control V.
Except for one actually has an NFL career still.
Oh, true.
I mean, pending that there is NFL next year.
Well, what I don't understand is, if you went to all the trouble to officially retire from the Patriot, why would you come back to go to Tampa Bay?
To play with Toms? Or,
but,
I don't know.
Like, don't get me wrong, Tom Brady is going to be Tom Brady and everything. But do we really think Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski were the missing pieces to Tampa Bay making it and winning a Super Bowl? I don't. Anyways.
This isn't an NFL podcast, so let's get back to that.
It sure is not. It would be really boring if you and I talked NFL, because we'd be like, well, yeah, that one team, they played lots of sports there. Sports really good.
Imagine talking the draft and be like, who's that?
Yeah, that. It says he played for Clemson. I don't know. Ooh, they might draft a Husker in the 4th round. No. Undrafted free agents, all of them. Anyways.
Nope, they have one to go.
So, yeah.
He's going to play with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, he was the missing piece.
That's right.
Anyway, so the Forgotten Sons versus Riddick Moss, Mojo Rawley, and R-Truth. And so the storyline is going to be, like I said, the winner gets exclusive next shot at the belt.
Okay.
Exclusive. So no one else can challenge until they still can challenge whenever they want. They can cash it in, but they exclusively. So they get a chance to like plan it,
set up a scheme.
So, storyline wise in the match, you of course have the Forgotten Sons working as a unit, trying to set up Jackson Riker, their leader, to be the one to win. It looks fairly obvious that their goal in the end is going to be basically just form a wall in front of Jackson Riker so that he can climb the ladder and get the briefcase. So the other 3, especially the super athletic R-Truth, the pretty darn athletic Mojo Rawley, and the I guess he's okay Riddick Moss.
Gets
Gets to try to do more flip-de-doos and stuff like that to get Steve Cutler and what's the other guy's name? Wesley Blake out of the way. Yeah, I keep trying to say something and then I forget about him. The long story short, if we're playing this in current storyline, it means Gronkowski is still the 24/7 champion after winning it off of his good friend Mojo Rawley. So the logical winner would be Mojo Rawley in this book, had give him a chance to even the score and win it back from Gronk. I think he gets it, and then you have this whole thing set up where Mojo is at the Tampa Bay training facility in the weight room wearing like a wig and a Tampa Bay training jersey, working out while Gronkowski comes in to start working out, and they do a big whole shtick where he volunteers to spot Gronkowski, and then he adds extra weights to the barbell so that eventually it's too heavy and holds him down, and then he wins 1, 2, 3, and then he runs away.
God, it's just like the worst thing of ever. Crash TV, bro. I told you we should have done one of those tonight. You didn't listen.
But I mean, the long story short is the problems with 24/7 Championship are not inherent to the 24/7 title. It's the booking, the way that they booked it as just this throwaway title where everyone wins it by roll up.
Absolutely.
If they did a slight tweak to it where, kind of like you were saying, you had to legitimately challenge, but you could be challenged anywhere and everywhere 24/7. But it was a wrestling match, a face-to-face wrestling match. Just this one happens in the parking lot, this one happens at the gym, or whatever, and then did them, more often and frequently. I think it would be okay. You'd also have to occasionally put some main eventers involved in, because that's part of what killed this was, you'd have Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns in a face-off in the middle of the ring, and then these jobbers would all come running out chasing the 24/7 championship, and Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns would just stand there like, I don't want a part of that. That totally ruins any sense of stakes to it,
It does. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, it just becomes a throwaway championship, which is exactly what we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I was intrigued to see how you would, I don't know, how you would deal with the dumbest storyline I could possibly come up with.
Well, it was pretty dumb.
I probably won't do that again. It's not mean. It's not like it was vicious, like making you, I don't know, like dumb. Making you push Sid Vicious to the top of the card.
I could have done that.
As I was about to say, as the third member of the NWO.
Still could have done it.
Wow, impressive.
He would have had he would have been twice the man and have half the brains of the rest of the other people in the NWO.
Did you know that was pre-written that way? Just
there are reports both ways. He has said repeatedly that it is not, that it was just him getting marble mouthed. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We will move on to Nullify, Vilify, or Deify. This is our shameless copy of What Culture's Fire Push Berry. We just, copied it and pasted it and changed the names, passed it off as our own, just like we used to do in school. I mean, allegedly.
Yes, yeah, because we allegedly went to school.
Can't prove it. Seriously, go look at the school records for Mark Smarts. You won't find it anywhere.
No. You certainly won't find a D.A. Vincent K Fabe in high school.
No. So rules are simple. I'm gonna challenge D.A. Fabe, and then he'll challenge me afterwards. Of the three choices, he must nullify someone out of wrestling entirely, he must vilify one to the bottom of the card, and then he must deify one, just like Kevin Nash did to himself when he was head booker.
Wow, you seriously did that one just because I mentioned Sid Vicious, didn't you?
No, that was actually on my script. I wrote it before the show. So, yeah.
That's impressive. It's like we're on the same wavelength or something.
Apparently.
I mean, people might think we do a podcast together.
We've synced our cycles.
Can that not be the way we say that?
Our mental cycle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that one's gonna violate some rules, and maybe your spouse might not be happy with you for that one.
Yeah. She's not happy. She's still not happy with me about the $20 taco delivery from last week. She was like, when did you have $20 in tacos delivered? I'm like, crap.
This is, you really should not expose yourself on a podcast.
Really should learn that my wife listens to is what I should learn. Hi, honey. Love you.
The interesting thing is she also listens to most of our conversations where you would say the same things in your living room. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Yeah, I apparently don't learn. So, first round, your choices are, because I don't think I've done this in a while, we are doing AEW women. So your choices for Nullify, Vilify, or Deify are Shanna, Hikaru Shida, and Brandy Rhodes.
That's rough. It's not rough because of Brandy. I don't want to be mean because she is developing, I guess. But I think I have to nullify Brandy. Probably nullify Brandy. Now comes the harder part because you got Shida and you got Shanna, and they're both really good, young. You're not giving me a throwaway person because they've had their career, and that's normally what we do. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Remember when I said I get to be mean?
Says the person who just challenged me to do a whole 24/7 thing. You've already been mean.
Worst FBI of all time. I apologize to the jury. I apologize to the police academy. I apologize to no one because it's hilarious to sit back and listen to you book stuff in such a bad world. All right, Shida, Shanna. I'm gonna vilify Hikaru Shida, and I'm gonna push Shanna to the title picture. I just think there's more marketability to Shanna, not by much, but I think there's more marketability to her. Yes, I live in a Vince McMahon wrestling world where the blonde girl gets the push, but that's kind of where we're at. So, yeah, that's where I'm going with it.
I don't know if we can be friends.
I'm sorry. It's Shanna. I mean, we're talking about Shanna, man.
Yeah. No, I indeed gave you a big Sophie's choice. You failed that. Shida all the way. That's all I'm saying.
Sophie's choice. That's where you're gonna go with this one. Is Sophie's choice.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, sure did.
Fair enough.
What you got for me?
Oh crap! I wasn't even thinking. Which means
as usual.
All right, so I think I want to do like a fantasy booking version of this, where I'm gonna give you 3 people to book as something that never happened. Does that make sense?
That's the way this works. This is Nullify, Vilify, or Deify, not fantasy booking.
I think you'll be pleased with this. It's a fantasy booking version of Nullify, Vilify, Deify. I'm going to change the rules on you a little bit because it happens on FBI every week.
No. Fine.
So I'm going to have you fantasy book Bret Hart as the third man, Mabel as the third. Not like you just have to nullify, vilify, or deify any one of these 3 concepts. So Bret Hart is the third man. Mabel is the third man. I know where that one's landing. And I'm gonna go with I do kind of want to see. I think this is an obvious one, but you were so excited to tell me that you could fantasy book Sid Vicious as NWO's leader. So I want to see if you could fantasy book it better than you could Bret Hart. So I'm going to say Sid Vicious as the NWO's third man.
Well, see, here's the deal. You booked yourself into a corner with that thing because I don't actually have to book the thing. I just have to nullify Mabel because that's a horrible idea.
I understand.
The third man. And of the final 2,
maybe you're forcing yourself to fantasy book next week.
Well, but of the other 2, there's way more potential in it being Bret Hart as the third man. So
I don't know, 3 big men. He's another big man who's beat Hogan before, who's had feuds with Nash before.
You are throwing out some very good ideas, except for the fact that part of what, in my book, made the third man so good, or at least would make a good storyline for the third man, is to have big man in Kevin Nash, big man with some better work rate in Scott Hall, and then an absolute brilliant technical wrestler in Bret Hart versus 3 big men. So
that's what Hogan was to you, was an absolutely brilliant technical
that's why I
wrestler.
said it would. That's why I said it would be a better working. Because you put Sid Vicious in there, effectively, it's the same storyline. You know, it's big man, big man, big man. I could do it, but I don't wanna. If you give me Bret Hart as an option, I'm gonna do that.
I don't wanna.
So nullify Mabel, vilify Sid Vicious, deify Bret Hart. That's the way it would go.
Fair enough. See, it wasn't as mean as I could have been. I've been mean, but I wasn't this time, so.
Anyways, on that note, we will probably start to wrap things up here. It's not our longest episode, but not our shortest by any means there either. So, I would like to make sure everyone knows to like, share, and subscribe to Raw and Order WBU. That way you get notified whenever we post a new episode, which, like I said earlier, is nearly every day.
It also is a really good way to find out about, I don't know, some contests and events that we might have going on.
You're making me skip ahead in my script.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Like, share, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Raw and Order WBU. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K Fabe.
Review us on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars, just like the absolute opposite of Jim Cornette watching Joey Ryan wrestle Orange Cassidy. We have our Wix site.
Do you think that's his version of hell? Do you think he just sits back and is like, I really need to find religion, because otherwise I'm going to have to watch Joey Ryan versus Orange Cassidy matches for eternity?
Be like, him in hell would be like endless DDT Pro matches and Chikara matches. Just like, it'd be like, oh, Joey Ryan and Orange Cassidy is over. What do I get to watch next? Oh, it's Kenny Omega wrestling a blow-up doll. And now what's after that? Oh, it's a guy dressed as a tiger wrestling an inflatable unicorn. Anyways, we do have a Wix site. You can find it in the doobly-doos or in the pinned tweet on Twitter. You can also there find all the ways to enjoy us, listen to the show online, read our blog, and then if you get the Wix app, you can actually respond to the blog and interact directly with me from wherever you are. And now we have merch. We mentioned it earlier, but you can go to shop.spreadshirt.com/Raw and Order WBU. You can see it all there. And if you want, you can tweet a link to this episode or any episode of Raw and Order with the hashtag Raw and Order WBU. And not only will you have a chance to win one of our shirts, you will also be entered for a chance to win a shirt of your choice from ProWrestlingTees.com. Now, we'd encourage you to use that choice to support one of the multitude of recently out-of-work wrestlers that have their shops up there, but we can't tell you what to do. So, but yeah, great way.
Is it against the rules?
No, we've got a spending limit, but we can't really. As long as you're going to ProWrestlingTees.com, you're supporting a wrestler, not supporting WWE for firing people. So, but like I said, all you have to do is pick an episode, tweet a link to it, hashtag Raw and Order WBU in it, and you'll be entered to win. And guess what? You can do that as many times as you want. You could do that for every episode we put out a week. That's 6 episods a week to do it. You can do it for multiple times for an episode.
3 times for the same episode. Say you really, really enjoyed the idea of I don't know, Sid Vicious being the third man or something. I don't know how that became even a thought in my mind. That's the worst idea ever, other than Mabel.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we have the worst idea ever. But so yeah, tweet out It's a tweet to win. Tweet out, hashtag us, Raw and Order WBU, and one of you will win not just one, but 2 shirts. Awesome. And if it's a successful week and enough people do it, we'll probably do it again next week. What an awesome contest.
Tweeting for clothing is not a bad thing.
Costs you nothing, $0, and have a chance to win 2 t-shirts. Sounds like a great deal to me.
Yeah, I mean, even if they're just, you know, underwear for you. I mean, I'd prefer that they weren't, but, you know, whatever works for you, bud.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, we can't tell you how to wear a t-shirt.
Preferably on your body.
You be you, boo-boo. Anyway, on that note, we will close the books on this episode of A Visit from the FBI. Like I say, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you soon with our AEW and NXT reviews. Thanks for listening. See you soon.